Hey everybody, welcome to Peace Crystals Academy. This is my very first installment, and so if you are a group member of my Peace Crystals with Christy Brower group, then you are welcome to attend all of these classes. So they're going to be at 7 p.m. Mountain on Tuesday nights. And this is our very first one, but I'm going to do one every week. I'm going to teach you some basic crystal healing skills. I would love to hear from you. If there's a particular skill that you want to learn, I will be happy to work that into my curriculum. I have all kinds of things to teach. But tonight is a basic crystal gridding class. I have been using crystal grids for many years in different capacities. I'm going to talk about several different types. I'm going to use this grid board that you can see on the video here. This is simply a grid board that is the flower of life, which is a key component of sacred geometry. The flower of life is actually believed to be sort of the original shape of the universe. It repeats itself over and over again in nature. So it repeats itself in the way that cells divide and in the way that various plant cells divide. All different kinds of things sort of originate in a shape like this. So that's why it's seen to be a very powerful shape and a very powerful energy to use for crystal gridding, because it is the basis of everything. You don't have to use the flower of life, and some people don't, and that's okay too, but I'm going to teach you how to use the flower of life because it is what I use most often. So I have made available for you a crystal gridding kit, a basic kit that gives you everything that you need to get started with crystal gridding in my store. And so I will talk about that a little later in class. I have a special coupon code for you. So I will share all of that as we go along. So I'm going to show you a few examples of a crystal grid and a few things to know. So if you look at this board, you see all of the intersections where all of the circles intersect. So every spot that the circles intersect can be a place that you place a stone. Now, you don't have to use all of the intersections, or you can use all of them. That's really up to you. I always start in the center with a piece that has some kind of meaning. So say, for example, we're going to do a grid that helps to heal the heart chakra. There are several things that you could place in the center. One thing I have that you could place in the center is a little palm stone that has the heart chakra symbol carved into it. Or you could use, this is a rose quartz angel. You could put that angel there. Or you could use this clear quartz heart. Something that represents your grid is what should go in the center. So I think we're going to stick with the heart chakra palm stone to start. So then if you're working with the heart chakra, say you're using this grid to attract a relationship into your life. There are lots of different reasons why you would use a heart chakra grid. Maybe you're using it to heal emotional grief. Maybe you're using it to love yourself in a better way. And maybe it's about relationships. So I want to use attracting something as an example because it's really helpful to understand one key element here. So we're going to start with this inside circle and we're going to choose some stones to put in there. So I'm going to use some green calcite here to flesh out this circle. So I put 3. So there are 6 intersections there. You want a stone on every one. And so you want it to equal out however you want that to be. So then I'm going to put, there's some pink Botswana agate. And here is a piece of pink Mangano calcite. So that gives you your center ring. The sizes and shapes of stones are really up to you. Smaller stones are much easier to work with and easier to put on a grid depending on the size of the grid. So you know that the kit that I have in the store has small like chip size beads, or not beads, but chip size stones, which is really nice because you can then use every single spot in your flower of life. With the stones I'm using tonight, I actually can't use all the spots because but that's okay. I'm just going to give you a basic idea here. So you want to choose stones that have some relation to whatever you're working on. So I would choose, I'm working on the heart chakra, I'm working on attracting a relationship, say. So I'm using pink and green stones. Then I want to draw energy in, right? The point here is to draw energy in, so draw something to me. So I'm going to place my quartz points. You always want to have a good set of quartz points, at least one set of 6 or 8 quartz points in order to do crystal layout. And that kit I have in the store comes with them. That's one reason why I love it, is because it's very comprehensive. It gives you all the colors of the chakras in 2 different sizes of stones and a bunch of quartz points. So you're going to take your quartz points and you're going to place them. So I'm going to place them at this intersection here all the way around. And if you notice, my points are pointing in. The reason that they're pointing in is because I'm attracting something to myself rather than clearing something or releasing something, which would be to push it away. So that is a really important element of understanding crystal gridding, is that you want to determine whether you're drawing something in or whether you're pushing something out. Now, you don't always have to draw something in or push something out. I'm going to show you some images of some other grids I've done that are really more about activation of energy, and those are just, they're meant to just emanate energy, so they don't have the quartz points. But if you're drawing something in or you're clearing something away, you want to have the quartz points. Drawing something in, you're pulling in, so the points are pointed toward the inside of the grid. So then you want to activate this grid. You know, we know how to build one, but what do you actually do with a grid? Which is a great question, and one that people ask me all the time. So a grid can be for multiple things. You can actually spend some time with your grid every day with your hand over it. And I wish you could feel what this feels like, but the first time that you build a grid, you will be very surprised when you put your hand over it, the heat that emanates from it, or the energy. Maybe it might not be heat for you, it might be a vibration, but there is an interaction going on between these stones, and I feel it in my hand when I put my hand over it. And so the other thing that I would do, and I would put this in the center, fold it up on a little piece of paper underneath my center stone, and that would be my intention. What do I want this grid to do? And so I might write on my piece of paper, attract a relationship, or attract the right relationship. Think about your wording, attract the relationship that's for my best good, or whatever. You know, you want to think through what you would do if you know what you want to bring to yourself, and you would fold that up under a little piece of paper and put it under the center stone. Or every day you could work on your affirmation and fold up a piece of paper and just sit it in the grid, sit it within the energy. So you can set one intention, or if you're using a grid that could use multiple intentions, then every day a new piece of paper goes on the grid and you just put it inside the circle on the stones. Now, a grid should always be activated. So once you have it set up, you have your intention set, you use a stone like this, a quartz point. This is a laser point quartz. It doesn't really matter what kind of quartz point as long as it comes to a point. Laser points are a lot of times recommended for activating a grid, but really any quartz point will work. So what you want to do is energy in. And so you hold this stone in your hand with the intention that you're drawing your chosen intention to you, in this case. And then you're going to start at this first quartz point, and you're going to draw the energy in, and you're going to draw the energy in at every quartz point. Do that all the way around, and then make a circle, and then end with kind of a spiral. Now that connects the energy of all the stones to each other so that they can work together, because that's the point. You're using this sacred geometric shape, which has some energy of its own. All of these stones that have energy of their own, and when you put them together and you connect them through intention, you have given them a lot of power. So it's increased the energy in this space. It's increased the power of this grid is much stronger than just one of these individual stones or the sacred geometry shape on its own. So then every day, my preference is to sit with my grid, with my hand over my grid, sending energy to this grid and to my intention. So I activate the grid in my mind's eye. I draw all of the stones in together and make that spiral in the center, that I'm drawing all of that energy, that it's drawing my intention to me for my highest and best good. And I simply do that every day. You can keep a grid up for as long as you want. Some grids stay up permanently. I've had grids that, back when I had a metaphysical store, I had grids that were a just general healing grid, and people could come in and just write something on a slip of paper and put it on the grid. And every day we would activate the grid to send healing to all of those situations or people. So you can have a general purpose grid, and we'll make one here in a few minutes. I'll show you what I mean by that, to do. Or you could have a specific goal in mind that you set up a grid for. Always, match your stone color to chakra color. If you're working on self-esteem, use some yellow stones. If you're working on grounding, use some red and black stones. If you're working on being better with communication and saying how you feel, then you would use blue stones. So, and you can always mix it up, like with a communications grid, a grid improving my emotional communication. I would put some green stones in there too, because the heart and the throat are really connected when it comes to expressing your emotions. So you can look at the way that things connect. Like, for example, we're going to do a third eye grid here in a second that is meant to activate and open your third eye. I'm going to put some yellow stones in with the purple, because solar plexus energy and trust of yourself is a very key element to activating your intuition. So you want to think a little bit about what are the connections between chakras and how can you include those colors. So let's take this grid down, and I will show you another grid. We'll put together a different one. So I'm just going to slide all of this off to the side. So I want to do a third eye development grid. So if I'm looking to really work on my intuition and develop my intuitive skills, I would put together a grid for the third eye. So in the center, I could put, that is a chakra palm stone with the third eye symbol on it. Or I could put that amethyst tower, would be a great one. Or I could put this piece of Uruguay amethyst cactus quartz on it. Put something in the center that really represents intuition to you. So you can decide how that works. And one nice thing is that you can, if you get a grid kit that has small stones, then you can incorporate your bigger stuff as your center stone, or, kind of as your focal piece, and then smaller stones around it. So I think for tonight, I want to use this right here, which is a chevron amethyst pillar. And let's see, I want to do some purple stones, but I also want to do some yellow stones, because I want to work on developing my self-esteem and trust of myself as part of developing my intuition. So I'm going to put, this is a piece of yellow jasper, and this is a piece of tiger's eye. I'm going to put that right here. And then I'm going to put a little piece of citrine right here. And then I'm going to put my amethyst points. So here's a piece of chevron. And I mean, ideally, you use all the same size or all the same type stone. But if you don't have that, that's okay. Amethyst is amethyst is amethyst. And so even if it's a slightly different type, or if it's cut a different way, that's not going to hurt your grid at all. Here's another piece of amethyst. And then I'm going to put, my Veracruz amethyst right here. This is a really beautiful little piece of amethyst I just got recently. I'm going to put that there. So those are my stones. Now, for this one, you're not really drawing energy in or out. You're just empowering. So you can decide what you want to do. If you want to put quartz points on the outside of it, I think what I'll do is I will put a few more purple stones and then alternate some quartz points. So here's some rainbow fluorite. I'm going to put that here. And here's another piece of amethyst. This is just a little piece right here. So I'm going to put that right here. And this is a piece of sugilite right here. And I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to alternate. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to alternate some Lemurians, because Lemurian quartz is a stone that contains a lot of knowledge. And so it is a stone that would be great for empowering your intuition. So I'm going to place some Lemurians on here as well. So there, got a couple of golden healers and a pink Lemurian as well. So there is a third eye grid. And like I say, you use whatever stones that you want, but think about the connections between stones and how the energy that they emanate and how you can add different colors in. So then I'm going to activate my, I would probably, in this case, I don't feel like I would need to write anything. I think I would first take this amethyst point and I would just hold it in my hands and I would bless it. And I would bless it that it will increase my intuition and increase my connection to my divine guidance and my higher self. And I would bless that stone to do that and put it in the center of my grid. Then I'm going to empower my grid. So I'm going to take my quartz point, and this time, because I put my quartzes facing out, I'm just going to draw their energy out like this. And then I'm going to start the circle and I'm going to make a spiral all the way in until I finish at the top. And now my grid is empowered. And so every day I'm going to spend some time with my hand over this grid, sending energy to it. At the same time, I'm also receiving energy from it, because this grid is actually built for me specifically to improve my intuition. And so I will empower it with my hand, just sending energy to it to get it all started. And then I would just allow myself to receive the energy that is emanating from the grid. Okay, so that is an example of a third eye grid. I'm going to share a few others with you. Facebook now has this very cool, oh, maybe I'm not going to. I thought I was going to, but I don't think it's going to let me now. I was going to share some images of other grids I've done, but looks like I can't screen share after I'm already live. So that's okay. Let's just do another one. Let's do a general purpose grid. And then I will post in the chat of this video, I will post some images, examples. So a general purpose grid would be a grid that you're going to use. Say you just want a healing grid. So if you send some healing energy out to people in your life, or, you know, if you're always kind of aware of healing energy that needs to be sent out into the world, you can build a grid to do that for yourself every day. So I would put maybe my rose quartz angel in the center, and you could stand it up like that. And then I'm going to do a variety of stone color, because I want to send out all different kinds of energy. And so every stone holds a vibration and emanates a certain energy. That's just how stones work. And so I would pick stones that represent every color. So I'm going to start with, here's a little piece of black tourmaline, and then I would pick some red jasper with some hematite in it. I've got my rose quartz in the center, so I've got a pink. So then I would add like a yellow jasper and a piece of green calcite and a piece of sodalite, which is an indigo color. And then I would place a piece of quartz. And so there you kind of have all of the chakra colors represented. Then I would do my clear quartz points on the outside again. And I would definitely use some of these Lemurian seed quartzes, because they're a very powerful energy. And I like to use that energy when I have the opportunity, because it has got a lot of wisdom to it. So I would put those here, just fill out my quartz points. And you see that I'm pointing the quartz points out because this is a general purpose healing grid. So this is a grid that I'm going to use to send energy out into the world. So I would every day, maybe, and you could change it out every day, but I would make a little list on a piece of paper. Every person and situation I want to send energy to, I would fold it up and I would sit it in the grid. So we're going to empower this grid. So we're just going to activate all those quartz points to send the energy out. And then we're going to make our spiral all the way through and up and out from the top. And then every day I would put my new list of healing situations that I want to heal in the center. And I would hold my hand over this grid and I would send energy to this situation, to all the people involved, and ask that this grid empower those people with healing for their highest and best good, to give them all that they are in need of. And I would just spend a minute or so doing that. And then I would just let my grid do its job throughout the day. So that's a multi-purpose grid. Gridding really can be done as freely as you want to be. The key elements are to use a central piece that represents what the grid is about, to include an intention, whether it's a written intention or you bless the center stone with that intention, to include stone colors that have to do with what it is that you're healing, and to use your quartz points either pointing out to send energy out or pointing in if you're drawing energy in. And of course, so manifesting, drawing something to yourself always would be pointing in, and healing out into the world, or clearing a block that you have, or releasing an old belief or fear, would be quartz points pointing out. So that's the basics of crystal gridding. I do have a special for you. So I have my crystal grid kit from Peace Crystals, and I am going to give you a 20% discount for watching this class. And so it doesn't matter if you are watching it live or if you're going to watch it later. The code is Crystal Grid. So put that code in at checkout and you will get 20%. So feel free to watch this class over and over again. If you're watching it after the fact, feel free to post questions here in the chat room or here in the Facebook group, and I will always answer them. And next week I'll have a new topic. I don't know what it will be yet, but thank you very much for joining me with Peace Crystals Academy and our very first class. So have a great night.